Yo, what up? Yo, what up? Nah, I'm just kidding. Say that. Zion, say what up.
Hey,
Say hey, YouTube.
hey,
Yo, what up? It's Kayla Sparks coming to you live from my new YouTube channel, Word2Mova. So, I'm back, y'all, and today's topic is gonna be breaking generational curses. I'm also going to be discussing how I was raised versus how I want to raise my own kids. So with that being said, sit back, relax, and enjoy. So one generational curse that I would like to discuss is being harsh on kids and remembering that kids are still kids. So what I mean by that was, I grew up in a Jamaican household. I grew up with a single mother. She did everything she could to make sure we had together. However, I still had thousands of cousins, aunts, and uncles. And one thing I could say growing up in Jamaican household, you are naturally going to be born with tough skin. Like, you have to have tough skin in a Jamaican household. Reason being, because Jamaicans do play a lot. And they'll say, like, they'll dead criticize you, OD, and turn around and be like, boy, I dropped me a mic. Like, no, that wasn't a joke. That was a whole insult. So, now that's one thing that I will say. It's not so much a generational curse, but you got to be careful of how far you take it. Because I know some Jamaicans that would dead tell their kids, go suck your mother! Just be like, yo, your child's only 5. All of that was not needed. Or just be like, yo, they genuinely did not know the answer to their homework. Like, why are you hitting them? Like, hitting them is not going to give them the answer. That's one thing I will say I will change. Like, I do, like, don't get it twisted. Once Zion and Zelanthia get of age, we are going to sit down and have family roast sessions, yes, because you're gonna have tough skin too. Like, and I feel like it's very vital to have tough skin, especially raising a black boy in America. Listen, my son needs to know that even if you look at him a certain way, he's not gonna break, he's not gonna fold, he's not gonna cry. Like, that's just it. Next generational curse I'm gonna talk about is sweeping things under the rug. A lot of times as parents, I feel like sometimes parents, they try to protect you from certain things, not realizing that kids notice everything. So for me, I feel like one of my main things that I want to focus on with my kids is just being very open and honest with them. You can never go wrong when you're honest because you don't have to hide anything. And it will eliminate some of the questions. It might cause more questions in some cases depending on what it is that you're keeping from them. But if it's stuff like you guys are struggling, that I could understand because you don't want to worry a child or stress a child out. Like, if I'm struggling, my kids will never know. That's one thing, like, that I'll say is the okay to sweep under the rug. So I feel like the same thing with parenting. Like, it just, especially when it comes to like that junior high school, going into high school time period, it is so important to be open and honest with your kids. I'm telling you, because 9 times out of 10, they probably know the exact thing that you try to hide for them already. Just off of little stuff. Like, kids will be kids, but kids are not dumb. They are very smart from the moment they come out the womb. So I just feel like when it comes to sweeping family secrets and stuff like that under the rug, I feel like that's something that we need to stop moving forward, because it doesn't make sense to. Because when the child gets older, they're going to find out all the secrets that you swept up under there, and then it's going to make your child look at you like, dang, ma, you was really out here telling me not to do this, and you was doing this at your age. Like, yes, there's certain things you want to stop, but it'll be more important to just be open and honest with your kids. Like, you could never go wrong when you're open and honest. The topic that somebody gave me was lack of affection. Now, when it comes to West Indian, Caribbean households, yes, like I said before, you have to have tough skin. And sometimes it's a blessing and a curse, because when you go out into the real world, you're going to have tough skin regardless. But sometimes you want that, you need a hug. You need them to be like, you know what, I'm sorry for being hard on you. I love you and I'm proud of you. Like, certain stuff like that, I feel like generations before us, they didn't get enough of it when it comes to West Indian households. So the only thing they know how to do is what they was taught. And I feel like as parents, the reason why I don't want to say you could never fail as a parent if you're keeping a roof over your child's head and food in their stomach, number one. But the reason why there's conflict of interest, I would say, with that whole thing is because I feel like as a parent, as a West Indian parent who literally worked for everything they had, came up here, got their citizenship, made a name for themselves and their family, they feel like the best thing I could give my child is what I never had, right? As any parent does. And to them, that's having a roof over your head without struggling or worrying or having to help your parents where you came from. Sorry, y'all, hold on. Yes, I'm okay, Zion. That's all you came in here for? Come, so people know I'm not crazy. He came in to ask, am I okay, y'all?
I did.
He's so caring.
Okay.
Okay. Like I was saying, I feel like when it comes to West Indians and Caribbeans, the best thing I could do as a parent is give you what I never had. Now for them, what they never had was a roof over their head and food in their stomach every night without worrying. They literally had to help their parents, whether it was waking up 5 o'clock in the morning to do the yard work and go fetch water so that y'all have water for the rest of the day, or whether it was selling stuff after school to help your parents pay the property tax on your house, something like that. So their struggles was much more deeper. Nowadays, our kids have to worry about, am I going to get judged because I like the same sex, or is people going to make fun of me because I don't have the latest Jordans, or I don't have the latest clothing out right now. I feel like that's what we get misconstrued. And it happens. Like, even when I was growing up, I know a couple of people went through this, but we get misconstrued because kids our age is, if I don't have the latest thing, I'm gonna get teased. If I'm gonna get teased, I'm gonna get in my bag. Our parents is saying, you know what, you have food in your stomach, a roof over your head, be glad with that. But whether you can afford to get your child the nice things or not, and you just don't believe in kids should be wearing a whole bunch of name brand and they don't have money in their pockets, whether or not that's the case, I feel like the most important thing we could do, whether we agree with it or not, the most important thing we could do is just listen. Just listen to your kids. A lot of the times when I was growing up, I can remember all the times where I just wanted to be heard. I didn't want anybody to make fun of me about being slow, or whatever I was saying just didn't make sense. I just wanted somebody to hear me. 9 times out of 10, that's all it, like, kids just want to be heard. So whether you agree with what their needs / wants are, moving forward as parents, it is so important to just listen to your kids. Hug them, tell them you love them. Like, when it comes to my kids, I'm overly affectionate. Like, I know they get tired of me kissing up on them, but in times like this, listen, comfort is what your kids need. Like, sometimes it don't take all the yelling and the hooping and hollering and the whooping and all of that. Just love on them sometimes. You just come home from work, and that's for me, that's one of my greatest highlights. Coming home from work and just being able to just woosah and hug my kids and love on them. Like, I feel like that is something that is very vital to parenting today, especially when we have moms that are dealing with postpartum depression and dealing with whatever their living circumstances may be, if it's not all the way up to par. So just spread love. This topic, it's a little sensitive and very tricky. So basically, somebody asked me to speak about teenage pregnancy. However, I'm gonna tell y'all from now, I don't ever want to put kids and generational and curse, period. Kids and curse in the same sentence is just a no-no for me, because I just feel like it's contradicting. You can't tell somebody that kids are a blessing and then go around and then go back and tell them, like, oh yeah, you getting pregnant at 18 was a generational curse.
What?
That doesn't make sense. And I'm pretty sure to whoever you're telling that to, they're gonna feel like, whether they show or not, they're gonna feel like way. So here's my thing on that. When it comes to teenage pregnancies, I don't see it as a curse. I just see it as the universe saying, you know what, you need a reason to go a little bit more harder, or you need a little bit more motivation, a little bit more ambition. So here, I'm gonna drop this on you, and now you have a great responsibility, so that way you are always ambitious and motivated. Is that always what happens? Is that always the outcome of teenage pregnancies? Absolutely not. Some people give their kids up for adoption, some people get abortions. That's your body, you do what you choose. I am pro people, period. To generational curses, like, I could go on and on and on. However, it's the first step is recognizing them, but the most important step is how do you move past it? How do you change it? What are you gonna do differently to make sure that the way I was brought up, my kids gonna be brought up way different? And my biggest thing is I just want to make my relationship with my kids so that they don't have to do no digging, because anything they want to know about mommy, they knew already. Nobody can tell them nothing about me that I didn't tell on myself about. And I feel like that's important, especially in times like these. Like, people are dying more so off of feelings than actual real war. And I feel like it's so messed up. We're losing so many of our kids to suicide because they're being bullied. And all of these conversations, like, when it comes to Zion, every day I have to tell him, like, you are somebody, you will make it. We do it every morning. I am a strong black man.
I am a strong black man. I'm smart. I'm bold. I'm brave. I'm brilliant. I am a strong black man. Yay! Give mommy a kiss. Give me a kiss. Mwah.
And so that is embedded, it's in his head. Like, he's never gonna forget how much of a strong black man he is. When it comes to being a young parent or a parent in general, there's no perfect handout or guide on how to be a perfect parent, because no such thing exists. What we can do, though, is think of generational curses as the time when Rafiki hit Simba in Lion King. While generational curses may hurt because it's stirred up from the past, we can still be aware to help mold and change the future. It will always take a village. Each one can definitely teach one. We're learning from each other. But when it comes to generational curses, when people tell you it runs in the family, you tell them this is where it runs out. And that's word to mother.
Been running from it for so long. Ow! Jeez, what was that for?
It doesn't matter. It's in the past.
Yeah, but it still hurts.
Oh, yes, the past can hurt. But the way I see it, you can either run from it or learn from it.